What's up YouTube? Today I finally did get the head under belt and tried it out in a lot of different maps, and I wanted to report back on the results. As you can see here, I'm doing a simulacrum, and a simulacrum is actually pretty incredibly hard, especially when your chest piece that you're using has negative 20% chaos res and you end up having negative 80% chaos res. And then there's a mod that makes it so that enemies do Fizz's extra chaos damage, and it's just not a good look for the character at all. But I do really enjoy Simulacrum. It is very, very fun to play this new inspiring aspirational content and try to figure out how to beat it and make your character stronger. And that's literally what the game is about, because not having something hard really makes it so that it's kind of pointless to increase your character strength. But right now, I do feel the urge or need to increase my character's defenses while also building up his damage. And it is actually pretty exciting. But Headhunter does change the game completely. I was able to do 100% deli, and I will include some short 100% deli clips, along with doing the, the Uul'Netol fight, which was actually kind of difficult. So it's kind of fun doing some of this new content, and the bosses are kind of crazy. So once you guys get to it, hopefully you can try it out, and it is quite a shock to see stuff that's actually not dying immediately with 10 million DPS. So let's get straight into the gear. I did make a lot of gear changes, and I do think that I will be sticking with Lightning Strike. I did try to look at Forbidden Rite Occultist, but I believe that Lightning Strike, when fully invested, can compete with the character in clear speed, and it does have perma berserk even in really hard maps, because in really hard maps, Warlord's Mark does not always proc the rage. But let's get straight into the gear. So I just put actually 2 cold iron points up, and man, cold iron points sell like crazy, and it is actually insane how many people wanted my cold iron points. I guess it's just a seismic trap league. So this weapon right here is the source of all my problems. This thing is kind of hot garbage, but it also has fire res on it and mana, making it not so hot garbage. So it's kind of bad. So this is why it's really bad when you get weapons or other pieces of gear that has some random resist on it, because replacing it later on means you have to replace 2 pieces of gear. That's just something to keep in mind. That little bit of int on your weapon or a little bit of fire res or cold res could really end up biting you in the end. So right now I have this weapon, I'm trying to replace it, but kind of hard, because if I take off this weapon, then I guess I still have 81 res. Oh, I guess it's not that bad with the setup. I'm not really sure what changed, but I think I'm running a different jewel or something. I'm not sure. But basically, this weapon needs to go. I do think the right way to craft a weapon is by fracturing attack speed, in essence, and I will try to showcase the crafting method in the next video after I've crafted my claw, because crafting a claw is pretty important. I did try to import some claws over, and it's around like a 20%, 15 to 20% DPS increase from this claw. Now we have the helmet. I did roll this helmet a little bit more, so it has some resist, but this helmet needs to go. I need to get a Blizzard Crown. I'm probably gonna take a little break on doing the Eternity Shroud idea. The reason I don't really want to do the Eternity Shroud so much is because the belt slot is impossible to get Shaper, and without being full Shaper, the Eternity Shroud does like 30% less damage, and the Eternity Shroud also doesn't have armor. And I do believe that chests like the Brass Dome or even like regular rare chests do have a lot of value in this meta. So I wanted to try out using a different chest piece and seeing if it is really effective. So probably will not use Eternity Shroud, just because shaped headhunters and shaped mage bloods do not exist currently, and I don't know if they'll ever exist. So we'll probably just be going for, I think we're gonna awaken orb a shaped like, there will still be a shaped Blizzard Crown, because I think nearby enemies take increased elemental damage is still the best roll. And then we'll find something else to awaken orb with it, maybe multi. So it's pretty much like the same helmet I had last league. Now this amulet right here, I did see that some people from last league crafted on synth implicit with crit multi, and that could be an option. I do think the strength in it is very, very good. Now this amulet is actually pretty good. I do think that you could get a higher multi and maybe some higher flat damage, and it does have a 16 strength, which is not too bad. It does give some life to the build. But this amulet is a work in progress. I should probably catalyze this amulet up all the way. Every time I do these videos, I always see like little things that I can fix. Red Blade Banner is an item that should be scourged. Now, Scourge is pretty nice for like uniques that are kind of like relatively cheap, but like pretty build enabling. Like this thing, if you Scourge it, you can actually get like +1 max res, and I've seen it, and it costs like 2x or so. And playing 2x for 1 max res is probably worth it. So that's probably what I'll be doing with my, because I think max res is definitely the way to solve your character's defensive issues. Now this ring story is pretty good. You know how in the past days I've bricked Assassin's Mark rings. Today I exalted this with Leo and it ended up getting 43% lightning res. So this was actually a huge lifesaver because before doing this I had some huge resist issues, and getting 43 resist somewhere is an absolute game changer. Now this chest piece needs to go. I'm gonna try to get pierce on my helm and on gloves if possible, so I don't need to use the chest piece anymore. Although level 15 pierce is very nice and it does give the projectiles more damage, it's just not good enough of a chest piece in my opinion, compared to using something like maybe the brass dome, which gives 5 max res, or something else, but not really sure what we'll be using. You could also use a rare chest, which gives you perhaps explode, which I think could be pretty pog for this build. I will test out an explode chest in the next video, so I'll let you know how good it is. Now, oh, the resists are fixed because I have this belt. I see now. I was so confused why I had so much resist, but it turns out using a headhunter is pretty annoying. So Mark of the Elder, I guess technically you could also Scourge a Mark of the Elder, and you can probably get something good. I mean, every single unique should probably be Scourged in the end game, even Headhunter, even though it would cost a lot. I did see some Headhunters on Reddit that are just completely bricked from Scourging, so this is probably a super late game thing. Now this over here is just some pretty simple strike gloves I made. I was probably going to, what's it called? I was going to multi-mod them and craft on either attack speed or get another resist depending on what I wanted to do with my gear. But at the moment I'm not really too sure, so that's why I haven't really multi-modded it, since I wanted to see if I could get a claw, and if I get a claw I'll probably have to multi-mod on fire res or craft fire res on my amulet instead. Now this pair of boots tragically had a pretty sad story. So I bought the boots for like 4x with tailwind and double res. Now, I did the thing where I do suffixes cannot be changed, and then I do a veiled chaos orb, and it ended up getting 15% move speed and life. Now, usually when you do veiled chaos orb, it's almost like an 80 to 85% chance to get move speed. And I was trying to get move speed and cannot be chilled, or move speed and onslaught, or move speed if you haven't been hit recently, but instead I got 15% move speed. Now 15% move speed, I was using a 20% move speed boot, so this is not like the worst. And it does get 96 life because it got the unveil for hybrid life. So overall, this pair of boots is kind of messed up, but it's good enough for now, and it does have a lot of resist, which was what I was looking for, as resists are pretty much a huge problem for the build. Now, in terms of the flask, I did start using Starlight Chalice. Starlight Chalice gives us 27% increase of non-damaging ailments, helping us cap out our brittle. And it also gives us exposure, and since we're no longer using Hydro Spear, it's actually a pretty big damage boost. When you sort by unique flask on POB, this flask actually comes out to be like 6% more damage than Bottle Faith. And then I rolled some of my flasks a little bit, so this has increased evasion, and I still have CB and bleeding immunity on here. And then I have a diamond flask of power for a reduced effect of shock. And then lastly, I have this Quicksilver flask, and you can actually get 17% attack speed on it. So this actually helped out my damage a lot. Now, the passive tree is also a lot different. I did start dropping these points over here, and even though they're pretty good points, this point gives like kind of a lot of value. I decided to go for a large cluster. I also had to drop these points over here because a large cluster is just too efficient in terms of points and in terms of what it gives. So this large cluster here, just know Feed the Fury gives you 30% attack damage while leeching and 15% attack speed while leeching. And since we have overleech because of our glorious vanity over here, this node is pretty much 30% attack damage and 15% attack speed. And this is also 12% and 2% attack speed. And this martial prowess node is 20% attack damage, 6% attack speed. We'll also give you some accuracy. So we're at 100% accuracy now because we leveled up precision all the way to 20. And now here we have Fuel the Fight, which gives us attack damage, leaches mana, and more attack damage while leeching, and attack speed. And then we put our Secrets of Suffering here. And over here we have our Lead by Example for Onslaught, and Warning Call to give us the armor. So you see how OP a Warning Call is? We have 18,442 armor. When we use Warning Call, which is whenever we use a War Cry, we're at 27,000 armor, making this node absolutely crazy value, which is why I think the Brass Dome would be absolutely huge for this build. And now, overall, we did drop these Claw nodes, but what this means is that since we got the Mana Leech over here with Fuel to Fight, we are able to change the Claw Mastery over to skills supported by Nightblade, have 40% increased effect of Elusive. Now this might seem like a small thing, but what this means is when you crit, your max elusive goes to like 180%, and elusive with Nightblade is directly correlated to our crit multi. But it's also equal to 40% more multi throughout the fight in almost every scenario. So that's why we chose that. I did respec some points while doing Cyrus to get corrupted blood immunity, and that's because I used a different jewel to get some stun immunity since I was using inspired learnings earlier. So that's just something to keep in mind, and it helped out a lot. So I kind of want to get a different Inspired Learning with chance to avoid being stunned, because then I could run another jewel. And I do have a free jewel socket here perhaps with another chance, or I can roll chance to avoid being stunned here. And then that will actually allow me to get stun immunity, because I think stun immunity is pretty big, and we're at the point in the character now where I kind of really need levels. So tomorrow I'm going to try to play safer and not do dumb things and try to get the level, because I do think this character can level doing the Nemesis currency farming method. As long as I fix my chaos res, having negative 81% chaos res is just not going to work. So we're going to try to fix it. We're going to try to get this character decked out and test out the limits of Lightning Strike, because I do believe that this character is good enough to clear all the content in the game. And it should do it while also having some of the best mapping clear speed around. So a lot of people say they have some single target issues, so I just wanted to go over how you should approach playing this character, because there is kind of a learning curve to this character, and your damage, as I showed in the previous videos, is kind of conditional upon totems, and how we get our damage is mainly from using our Anoint, Panopticon, and our Amulet, which is absolutely crazy value. So basically, let's say we just play through the map real fast, pretend it's a map, and we have our charges down, right? So ideally, when you fight the boss, you want to place down, you want to make sure you have full rage, you want to place down your Ancestral War Chief totem, and then put down Ancestral Protector, so you have 2 totems up, then press your Berserk button, and then put down 2 Ball Lightning Strikes, and then start attacking the boss. And then this will actually allow you to nearly one-shot the boss, and once your rage falls below 20, you want to General's Cry again by moving, and then you should be able to maintain the Berserk for quite a while, as you can see there. And that should pretty much kill any Conqueror. Now, if you do this incorrectly and you don't have max rage, you will do a lot less damage. Like right now, if you're like 28 rage and you War Cry, you're gonna go down. If you start off the fight with like 30 rage or so and you do the War Cry, you could literally lose Berserk right away inside of the fight. And always make sure to press your Berserk button actually. Like the General's Cry gives you the rage, but you still have to press the Berserk button in order to get the damage boost. So when you want to start the boss fight, make sure you have 50 rage, you press the Berserk button, and then you put down your Ball Lightning Strikes, and make sure you have totems up, and then start attacking. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. So it's not like a foolproof method like some other builds where it's one button. So you actually also need to make sure your flasks are pressed, because Quicksilver, your Diamond Flask is pretty big, and you can get 17% attack speed on this flask over here. So a lot of people do complain about the single target not being the best, and it is not exactly the best because it is a melee build. But you can do these little things, and even though it may seem like not a lot, having the totem down and having 50 rage with Vol Ancestral Warchief up and Ancestral Protector Totem is probably a factor of 10, and you would do 10 times more damage when you do your burst cycle. And that's why I will showcase some quick little boss clips to showcase that the build does amazing damage, and the damage will only get better from here. And I do expect that you should be able to see the fear done in an insane time after a little bit. So let me showcase some breach invitations that I did, and then also some Conqueror kills.
Baby, wait, I know that you're afraid, but it'll be okay if you just stay with me, and we can run from here, and we can disappear, and they won't find us where we are going, dear. So baby, hold on to me, 'cause I know I can make you believe in something that only we can see. Oh, so baby, hold on to me, hold on to me. Baby, wait, I know that you're afraid, but it'll be okay if you just stay with me, and we can run from here, and we can disappear, and they won't find us where we are going, dear. So baby, hold on to me, 'cause I know I can make you believe in something that only we can see. Oh, so baby, hold on to me, hold on to me. Thought you'd call, but you didn't, so I'm sitting here. Thought I heard my phone ring, but it disappeared. Guess I'm just losing my mind again. I told myself to breathe in, but the darkness hung its teeth in, and its mind has got me thinking. Sick and tired of feeling, so sick and tired of dreaming, 'cause I always wake up sick and tired of believing that this pain will ever end. always comes back again. And I'm not even gonna pretend that it's okay. Constantly putting bad thoughts on replay. I really don't like living like this.
And yeah, hopefully those clips inspire you to keep playing the character. I did kind of want to maybe swap over to Forbidden Rite Occultist, but I think I'm gonna min-max this build out. I do kind of like the whole playstyle with the Berserk and Whirling Blades and Lightning Strike and having a Evolve skill. And this skill kind of just looks visually stunning, even though it's kind of annoying with the visual clarity. But I did try out Frostblades a little bit. It was just a lot worse in terms of damage, and I just don't want to deal with having to place down Hydra Spear on every single target fight. But I don't think I'm going to go Eternity Shroud for now. I'm going to try to go the full Elemental route with Trinity. And then if it's not good enough, I'll probably try to maybe focus on one element instead of Trinity, but we'll see what happens. The main reason why we want to use Trinity is because of Secrets to Suffering. The fire damage gives us Pen, the cold damage gives us the Brittle, and the lightning damage gives us the 20% less damage taken.
I cannot
So that's
do
why
this
we use
yet.
Trinity and Secrets of Suffering. But maybe Secrets of Suffering is not as good as pure crit when you have near perfect gear. That's what we're here to find out. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope some of this helps you with your single target on bosses and conquerors, because this build does have the damage. And once you get to a certain gear level, you're just going to instantly kill the boss with any Vault Lightning Strike that you save up. But hope you find more mirrors and results than I do, and see you next time. Bye.